When I was in high school, there was a sound that haunted our campus at night. Every so often, in the dead of darkness, you'd hear a girl humming a quiet, beautiful melody from somewhere out near the woods. And I need to tell you right now, whatever you do, never go looking for where that voice is coming from. Because what you might find on the other end of it, you won't be able to unsee. This was 2018. I was attending a boarding high school tucked into the mountains of rural Colorado. The kind of school surrounded on three sides by peaks, like it had been hidden away in its own isolated valley. Students rarely left campus. Most of our world existed inside that one small loop of dorms, classrooms, and trails. The boys' dormitory was built right against the base of the mountain. I lived on the fourth floor, room 415. My balcony looked straight out at a bare slope. Nothing up there but a few scattered trees, some rocks, and probably a snake or two that nobody wanted to meet. I was in 8th grade that year, right in the thick of being young, restless, and convinced I was cooler than I actually was. Every night around 11:30, after the dorm monitor finished his final room check, I'd sneak out onto the balcony alone to smoke. Not because I actually liked it, I just thought it made me look tough. One night, I was leaning against the balcony railing, staring out at the dark mountainside, cigarette in hand. And then I heard it, a girl's voice, singing, faint, drifting in and out like it was carried on the wind. At first I figured someone was just walking the trail late at night and didn't think much of it. But the longer I listened, the more something felt off. The sound was coming from inside the mountain itself, maybe 20 yards out, somewhere in that empty stretch of trees and rock where nobody had any business being at midnight. I listened closer. It wasn't quite singing, more like humming, a melody I couldn't place, but undeniably beautiful, hauntingly so. I don't know what happened to me after that. My mind just went blank. I stood there frozen, completely zoned out, staring into the dark for what must have been 30 minutes straight. Slowly, the strangeness of it caught up with me. No person hums the same melody, alone in the middle of the woods, for half an hour straight in the dead of night. And if it was a recording, a speaker someone had left running, it didn't sound like one. It sounded completely human, completely real. That's when the fear hit me. A cold sweep down my spine, goosebumps rising on my arms. The realization snapped me fully awake. I bolted back inside and ran to my dorm room. My roommates were still up talking. I checked the time, just past midnight. I didn't usually jump into their conversations, but this time I couldn't help it. Hey, did you guys hear that? There's someone singing out there, in the mountain. They all stopped talking and turned to look at me. Confusion all over their faces. What are you talking about? Singing? I grabbed one of them, my roommate Tyler, and dragged him out to the balcony to hear it for himself. But the moment we stepped outside, the night had gone completely silent. Nothing. Not a sound. Tyler stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Bro, what is wrong with you? You look like you just saw a ghost. I tried to explain what had just happened. He just laughed it off. Dude, you've been smoking too much. You're hallucinating. Everyone's asleep. Where would singing even come from out here? I started second-guessing myself too. Maybe I had just spooked myself out there alone. I went back to bed and told myself it was nothing. I let it go. For almost a full year, I genuinely believed it had just been some kind of late-night hallucination. Then our school made an announcement. We were relocating to a brand new campus. Our old buildings would be taken over by a different school entirely, with their own students moving into our old dorms. Boys and girls housing got reorganized in the transition. Around that same time, I started dating a girl, Hannah, who happened to attend the school that was moving into our old campus. She was a day student, so we spent a lot of time hanging out after school, and she'd tell me all kinds of stories about her new building, her classmates, the usual school gossip. One afternoon, we were walking through the park when her expression suddenly shifted. Serious, uneasy. I asked what was wrong. She said, "Something strange happened at school recently. One of the girls in my class got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and she heard someone singing. Hannah told me the girl had followed the sound, curious who else was awake. She pushed open a door, expecting to find a classmate, and instead found nothing. An empty room. The singing stopped the second she opened it. Ever since that night, Hannah said, none of the girls in that dorm would use the bathroom alone after dark. They went in pairs every single time, no exceptions. The moment she finished telling me, something cold settled in my chest. That same feeling from a year ago, standing on my old balcony. I asked her, what floor is that dorm on? Which room is the girl in? She looked at me a little confused by the question and said, room 413. Room 413. Directly below my old balcony. Directly facing the same stretch of mountainside where I'd heard that voice drifting through the trees a year earlier. The same hallway. The same dark slope outside the window. The same impossible, beautiful humming in the middle of the night. I never told Hannah the full story of what happened to me that night on the balcony. I just sat there quietly, replaying everything in my head, convinced now, more than ever, that I hadn't imagined a single second of it. To this day, I don't know who she is. I don't know what's out there on that mountainside or why her voice seems to follow whoever happens to be closest to that particular stretch of woods. What I do know is this. If you're ever somewhere quiet and isolated, late at night, and you hear something beautiful drifting toward you from somewhere you can't quite place, don't go looking for where it's coming from. Some songs were never meant to be found.